Good day, friends and family. We want to thank God that has brought us up to today again. We have camped a lot in the blended families and their challenges. Today we want to move over and talk about something else. Before I go into what I want us to discuss today, I want to say gratitude to one of my sons. I'm like Abraham, I've got many sons, so he bought me a tripod. Today I'm taking a video from a tripod, that's why it looks beautiful. Thank you so much. Today we want to look mainly into the childless families. I would make the introduction today and some few things, and then we'll camp a little bit. We have camped a lot in the blended families. My daughter was even saying people will think that these YouTubes are about blended families. Let's move over to childless families today. The first thing that I want us to look at is that in the beginning, when God created heavens and earth, of course he said, let us make man in our own image and let them be fruitful and replenish the earth. Then he continued to bless them with a lot of things, and then children were born in families. But today we have families that are born, that come up, and then they, in the process, they don't have children. The question that is commonly asked is that because God, the Bible says God created the first family and he blessed them and he said, let them be fruitful, does it mean that those that do not have children are cursed? That has brought a confusion in many families. I've found that, I've discovered that many couples who do not have children in their families, it also affects their relationships. Sometimes men become difficult when it comes to this, and you find that women weeping most of the times because of the harsh words that the man has used. You find that sometimes they feel like they are not valuable because of how the men will address them, and then it tends to make it feel like it is a woman's fault that there is no child in the family. But I want you to be aware also that there is also a possibility that the family might be childless, and you find that the woman is fertile, the man is the one that doesn't have fertility. So it's possible that the family may be childless because the man is not fertile, and it's possible also that the man can be okay, can be fertile, and then they find that the woman is not fertile. So all those can result into a childless family. But the question, as I've just imposed it, that is it the couple's fault that there is no child? Is it a woman's fault? Is it the man's fault that there is no child? How should we treat each other if there is no child in the family? And also in the community, you find that when there is no child in the family, some people tend to look down upon you, and that makes the family also feel very low, or sometimes they feel valueless because there is no child in the family. But mainly what I would want to focus into as far as this type of family is concerned is the relationship between the husband and the wife in this family. What should happen if there is no child in the family? Remember that as I've just indicated, the Bible says God said let them be fruitful. So the Bible will keep on showing that God blessed them. So that means children, if you continue reading the Bible, you will discover in Proverbs that the Bible says children are an inheritance from God. So looking at it from the family's point of view, if this family doesn't, like in the olden days, what we would inherit from our parents is the cattle that the parents had. And nowadays, people have businesses and have money, so children will inherit from the parents the money, the businesses that they have, whatsoever the family had. So if the Bible says children are an inheritance from God, that would mean that inheritance is given by whosoever the parent is. And also realize that a parent or a family, the parents can have a lot of money, they can have cattle, they can have businesses, but you may find that you will find a child that doesn't have money from that very family that had money. It doesn't necessarily mean that is the problem. The problem is with the child. It doesn't necessarily mean that the father didn't love the child. But most of all, we need to understand that we are living in the world that has got a great controversy. So those things will count a lot in finding that we don't have children in the family. I want to say to you, children are inheritance from God. So if there is no child in the family, it doesn't necessarily mean that then we have to strive with each other. It doesn't necessarily mean that then we have to fight with each other, because children are an inheritance. So that means they have to be given by God. If they have to be given by God, then it means if there are no children in the family, God has not yet given the children, or it doesn't necessarily mean that God didn't give the children this family. So it mustn't be a fault with anybody else. Friends, this thing of childless family has caused a lot of strife in the families, have caused a lot of bitterness in the families. But the families that should be happy, that should be moving on life smoothly, they find it difficult simply because there are no children in the family. And I want to say to you, let us remember that when we begin our families in the very beginning, we begin our families as a couple. We don't marry the children, we marry the wife or the husband, then the children will come. So it's my decision to marry a certain woman, it's your decision to marry a certain man, but it's God's decision that we have the family or the children in this family. So as a result, friends, we will talk much about these things, the challenges that we have found, and how we should look at each other. How can we bring happiness in a family that do not have children? And what does it mean? Does it mean that the family is cursed? We'll address all those things in the childless families. But what I want to say to you is that at the end of the day, let us find a way to be happy even without children in the family. Let us also understand that even if we do not have children in the family, we are still loved by God. We are still a family. We are still valuable in the eyes of God. And above all, we will still go to heaven, the two as we are. So you may find that there are some people who are blessed with children, and you find that they even wish they didn't have children. Those are some of the challenges that we face in this world. But friends, let us address those things, and at the end of the day, we will discover that children or no children, we are still human beings. We are still loved in the eyes of God. We are still to be happy, and above all, we will get to heaven one day. Just like Abraham, we will have the children like the sand. It is my wish and my prayer that God can bless you and keep you happy the whole day. Mibe na jambo ra kahle Xikwembu xi mi katekisa ni mi rhandza hinkwenu.